Hi, in today's video I'm going to be covering a fix for extensions and the extension manager not opening on GNOME when you're running Wayland with NVIDIA drivers. So I came across this comment on the EGL Wayland GitHub page uh, with a solution for this, and what I'd done before was I'd managed to get the window open for the extension manager, or but not the actual settings for the extension. So what I've done is I've taken this code and turned it into a couple of scripts. So what I've done up here is create a couple of scripts, and the way this works is you need to specify the EGL vendor library file names and a path to 50_mesa.json, and then run JGS, which is global JS, sort of the path to all GNOME extensions, and then extensions. And what this does is this actually gets around a bug that basically will pop up the sort of icon for the application in the dock, and then just disappear, and the application doesn't work. Or the other bug that you can come across is just by prefixing this before you run like gnome-extensions-app will actually open the gnome-extensions-app, but when you try and click any of the settings for the extensions, it doesn't open. So what we have here is these two scripts, one for the gnome-extensions-app and another for the extensions manager, which is a extension that allows you to, it's an application that allows you to install extensions just by searching from within the application rather than sort of going to a website and searching for them that way. And you can install them and actually manage them from within this application. So these are the two scripts, and basically what we do is we first of all have a path to this Mesa JSON file and a path to the application. And what we do is we check if we're running Wayland, and then we check if this file exists. So we're checking if we're running Wayland, and then if this file exists, which is used by, I think it's used by NVIDIA. And if it is, basically we run this command down here, export EGL vendor library file names, that path. We run global JS, GNOME extensions, and then the extensions, which is this here. And if we're not running NVIDIA, or we're not on Wayland, it just basically falls back to running these the application normally. So what you do is, I've got links to the scripts, so you just basically download them, make them executable, and if you have a bin directory in your home, move it into there. Otherwise, move the script into user local bin. So it's the same setup for this script down here as well. So once we've done that, if I now switch across to the desktop here, and what I'll do is show you how this works. So normally you will come up and open the application launcher on GNOME, and you'll see here we've got the extension manager and extensions. So extensions is the sort of built-in GNOME thing, and extension manager is a third-party application, as I said, that allows you to search and manage GNOME extensions. So if I click extension manager here, you'll see that actually opens. So what we have here is the installed extensions, and as you can see here, we can browse. So these are all coming up, and if I come across to installed over here, what I've got is an extension that's installed but not enabled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable it, and then open the settings for that extension and activate one of the settings to show you that it's actually working. So this is the Just Perfection extension. I'm going to enable that, and I'm going to click the settings button here, and as you'll see, the settings for the extension open. And if I come across the visibility here, we've got the activities button. What this does is this will hide the activities button up here. So if I select that, you'll see the activities button has now disappeared. So I'll put that back, close that, and turn that extension off. So you can see the extension manager is working after I've added that script to my bin directory. Now, if I try the same thing with the GNOME extensions application, you'll see here what happens is it bounces once in the dock and then doesn't open. So if I open a terminal now, I can run extension manager from the terminal extension manager, and you'll see that it opens just as I showed you when I was using the graphical launcher. I can click that button there and it's going to open the settings there. Okay, so the extension manager works both on the command line and, as I showed you, as a desktop file being launched through the GNOME launcher. So if I want to run the is it called the GNOME extension manager extensions app? So the application that I was trying to open that didn't, just bounced in the dock, is the gnome-extensions-app. But if I run this script from the terminal here, you'll see that that application is opening here, and you'll see I have the applications listed here. So if I can enable the Just Perfection add-on here and click the settings, and the settings window is opening, click visibility, go to the activities button, turn it off, and you can see, so that's working from the command line. So I'll turn the Just Perfection extension back off. So you can see the GNOME extension app is working when run from the command line, but not when we're using the .desktop file. And I have tried creating .desktop files. You can create .desktop files to launch applications using the application launcher. And I have played around, calling the script from the desktop file, or you can use env to specify environmental variables, so that you would sort of write in a desktop file, you have like .desktop, it'll say like execute and the path to the application it's going to open. And what you can do is you can run env and then specify an environmental variable like this, and then the rest of the command. But that doesn't work. So this doesn't fix the GNOME extensions built-in doodah from being opened in the application launcher, but you can still open it on the command line. So again, this bug is something that's been annoying me for a while, and as I said, what I had done before was actually get the settings window to open, but not the settings for the extensions, if that makes sense. And so using this block of code from Shenanigans in the script like this actually fixes the issue. So again, all you need to do, if I come across here, what we've got is that document and then extension manager and extensions app, and you'll see the script just come across to raw. I'll put links directly to the something like this, but basically you would just save this, click there and save, and then just make it executable. And if you've got a bin directory, move it to there, but if not, move it to user local bin. And if I come across to the terminal, when I type which extension manager, you'll see that even though it's actually installed in user local bin, because I have a local copy in user in my bin directory, and I have my I have my ZSH path set like this in my ZSH env file. What it does is it prepends the bin directory in my home before the system path, so that when I put a script with the same file name in my bin directory, it will take precedence over the one that's installed globally in user bin. And so what that means is I can then override those scripts and apply fixes. So that's why the script is taking precedence over the one that's actually installed sort of, in user bin, the global location. So the other thing I want to show you is local, user local share application, isn't it? User share applications. So the name of the extension manager script, desktop file rather, is gnome-extensions-app, and that's located in user share applications. And if you have a look at this script here, this desktop file rather, what you'll notice is on the second line it's saying exe execute extension manager. So what it's doing is it's running extension manager, and then it's using the version in our bin directory with the fix for nvidia, and so that's how it can actually be launched both on the command line and using the GUI launcher. So that's why that one works, but the other one is the GNOME. Where is it? It's org GNOME. There's a load of GNOME things here, but it's actually listed under org.gnome extensions. So org.gnome extensions. And you can see the way this one is launched is it's user bin gnome-extensions-app -- G application service. And even if I create a custom desktop file and put in the path to, just bin, the bin directory in the script in my bin directory in my home, and the rest of this code, or put in env and path to the nvidia JSON file and all these kind of different permutations, I still can't get it to actually launch from the graphical launcher. So that's the desktop files, but you don't need to do anything. As I showed you, if I come across here and come to extensions, you see the extensions one here won't work, so that's the built-in one, won't work, see it bounces. But if I run gnome-extensions-app here, you'll see it does open from the command line, and again the settings will all open, and you can activate the settings and they will take effect. So the GNOME extensions app you've got to launch from the command line, but the extension manager can be launched both on the command line or through the desktop launcher here. For some reason when I type extensions, it's coming up now. Okay, now you're coming up. So that's the first one. Extension manager will open like that. So browse, see this little coming up again. Setting windows coming up, and again that's the activities, just recapping, just showing you it's working. So that's working there. Toggle it off. So that's working, as you saw, being launched through the GNOME launcher, and then we've got the extensions manager on the command line. same thing. So that's all you need to do to fix it. Download the 2 scripts that I'll link to, make them executable, put them in your bin directory, and then you can either you can launch one of them, as I showed you graphically. The other one you have to do on the command line. And again, this was the commit on the nvidia EGL Wayland issues page from Shenanigans, and this is the Just Perfection GNOME extension that will allow you to toggle loads of different stuff on, so you can hide you know, all the different kind of things that pop up in the menu, like the activities, these things. You can hide the clock, the calendar. You can hide loads of the hot corners. So, and this is a list of all the things that you can actually do, and this is a list of the things that is, you know, supported for the different shell versions of GNOME Shell. So that's GNOME Shell support basically. So if this is something that's been bugging you for ages, not being able to actually get the extensions working, so you're having to do something like boot into X11, you install some extensions, configure them, and then switch back to Wayland. Hopefully this fix will help. And again, this is basically for if you're running GNOME, Wayland, and nvidia, and you can't get the GNOME Extensions app to open, or the Extensions Manager. And I think that's listed at search extension. Is it manager or managers? Extensions. Yeah, that's the one. gnome-shell-extension-manager. So that's the utility for managing GNOME shell extensions. And again, what that lets you do, Extension Manager, is rather than going across to say GNOME shell extensions, what you previously had to do is you have like an extension in Firefox, and then you'd click a button searching this website, and it would install the extension. But because Firefox has switched to Snap, I think that no longer works. And it's like a not very convenient way to do things. So this extension manager is much more convenient because you can search through all of these, come across, you know, see the screenshots, read all about them, install them. And then once you've done that, so you've got 2 tabs. You've got installed and browse. Come back to the installed. You can then, as I say, as I showed you, activate them, click the cog. And this was the thing that I couldn't ever get working. What would happen is I could, I was running the script with that fix. I'll come back here. By specifying EGL vendor library file names equals, and then this path before running this application. But then what would happen is you'd click the settings button and the next window wouldn't open. But now it does. So that's really good. So you can then come through, and as you can see, I could toggle all these different things here on and off. These are all the options that you've got for this extension. And you've got these sort of predefined profiles, so you can like click custom, minimal, super minimal, and it'll like get rid of all this stuff and get rid of the dock and everything. So I just wanted to show you that extension because that's quite useful if you want to get rid of all these bits and pieces that annoy you. I'll just disable that for now. So that's getting the GNOME Extension Manager, GNOME extensions, and the Extension Manager working on GNOME Wayland using NVIDIA drivers, and this is basically the little fix down here. And as I said, we check for, we have the file location, the path to the application here, and check we're in Wayland, check if the file exists. If it does, we run this code. If not, we don't do anything. We just carry on as normal. So that's all you've got to do to fix it, and hopefully that will get your extension working if you're running NVIDIA and Wayland and GNOME as well. So that's all for now, and I'll put links to this under the video.